Okay, can you let me know on Discord if you can see my screen? Okay, perfect. Let me just get settled here real quick. All right, so I'm gonna try and keep it as as short as possible. It is going to be a lot of information. You might not get it, but like everything else, you have to, what's it called? You have to practice it. That's what it comes down to. Um, this style of trading that I've been learning, it's taken me a while, and I've been learning and everything, and I've been trying to learn and get better at it. And what helped me tremendously was the momentum bands, especially for options. So once I added that to my rules of trading, that's when it really that's when it really made a big difference. And I'll try to post. Normally, I take screenshots of trades I take, and we'll go over one that I posted today. So so you can see like how this method works, and it's very accurate. It's high probability. You just have to follow the rules, right? So what is this? It's pretty much momentum trading, and that's what it is. You're trading momentum, and I think so far it's been it's been the best. The At least for me, and it's been the best. Wow, what's the word I'm looking for? The trading style. It's been the best trading style that that I've seen, and it's even better when you trade with a trend. So I guess I should have titled this trend trading, because the trend is when it's a lot easier to make money in the stock market, right? When you're trading with the trend. So um, I'll try not to take too long so I can demonstrate on the chart, but uh, these are the rules right here, right? So the seven rules that I follow are support and resistance, trend, the market cycle, momentum, volume, volatility, and you confirm every trade, right? So I'll go over them. I'll go over them one by one in briefly, but if needed, I can always go more into depth, on something you don't understand, like for example the cycles, maybe momentum, volatility. Like I said, it's not that difficult, but it takes practice, right? So support and resistance, very simple. What I use, moving averages. There's nothing wrong with just waiting for price to go into a moving average. There absolutely nothing wrong. You can use Fibonacci levels. You can use, you can draw your own lines, trend lines, whatever it is. But for the most part, the more simple it is, the better. At least for me, like and you see it, just the simplicity is so much better, because the rules either apply or they don't, right? The more stuff you have in the chart, in my opinion, it just you start seeing things that are not there, right? Like you you put all these moving averages, then you draw support resistance lines, and then you add a channel there with Fibonacci, and it gets too busy. That's for me. So what I use, the 15 EMA, 50 SMA, and a 100 or 200 simple moving average, and that's it. That's your support and resistance, right? Remember, they are not exact. For example, Um, for example, right here, right, like this white line is the 200 moving average. It came into support, right, and it didn't hold there perfectly, but that was support right here. It bounces, it pulls back, into that 15 EMA, consolidates a few days, takes off again, right, and it's things like that, that we're gonna look into, right. Um, so that's support and resistance, very simple. If you're brand new to trading and have absolutely no idea where to start, this is a good start here, right? Support and resistance, just with moving averages, nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Trend. So the trend, the 50 SMA, that's gonna be your indicator for trend. If price is trading below your 50 moving average on the daily, that's a downtrend. If it's trading above, you're on an uptrend. If it's flat, it's more than likely chop. I mean, you have all three here, right? You have a downtrend right here, then it reverses, you come back to an uptrend, you have chop right here, the 50 SMA is flat, and then it takes off again, right? And we make a new all-time high. Um, and that was that. Fairly simple. So uh, why I say, trade with the trend. A lot of people want to come and take, you know every move the market makes. They'll come here, they'll buy, they'll go long and then short it, try to go long and try to short it, try to go long, whatever, right? And they might be getting stopped out here, constantly, because there's this chop instead of waiting for a good signal, right? What, like this one right here was probably the best. Came into that 50 moving average, rejected the following day. Sure, you can open a short position there if the rest of the rules apply, right? And it's all in hindsight, because we know already that this move happened. But when you're seeing it, when you are seeing it on the chart, just use the rules. Did the rules apply here? Yes. Okay, that makes it a good trade. Now, if it were to fail and continue up, but all the rules applied, then it's okay too, right? Sometimes it happens, right? It happens, and I'll give you an example of when it doesn't work out, right? And why I believe in, and you have to cut your losses quick. Don't add to a losing position. Don't average out. Get out and just wait for a better entry. You're gonna stress a lot less. You're not gonna be wondering, hoping, praying overnight. That, man, I hope the market does what I want it to do, and you have a call option on a strong downtrend, right? The other thing with a trend, um, early trends typically do not reverse, right? So in this case, um, the price action sliced below the 50 SMA, and you can see it chopped around here, and ultimately did this move right here. Same thing, the opposite, right? We're coming off a downtrend, slices up, pulls back, and it comes off, right? A lot of people were trying to short, earn an early uptrend, and they, everybody at least that I know got burned, right? Um, eventually, sure, it works out, right? It came down here, it chopped, but it came right back up. If you're into patterns, inverse, head and shoulder, whatever it is, right? But we're not too concerned about that. Patterns, candlesticks, and all that. If it's something you want to look into eventually, that's fine. I don't really use them. Are they useful? Yes. I don't really look into patterns. Just the rules that are here, right? Cycles, to add to the probability of your trade, right? Um, you're gonna use the RSI indicator, and a period of four. It's not gonna be the stock. Period of four, oversold 30 or 40. It's your preference. I personally use both, 30 or 40. So I have two lines there at the 40 and 30 oversold, and overbought 80. Works well for me. So the market cycles, right? The market goes up, goes down. It's never straight up. It's never straight down. Um, and that's just how it works, right? People buy, they sell, they cover profits, and that's just how the market works. So I posted this chart, right, of how this RSI works, And here, this first line, you can see this was a reversal setup, and I can, if I still have this line, I'll show what the rules were that applied here, right, for this reversal setup that was valid. And it comes right, and if you're not comfortable making an entry, right, like let's say this thing comes, it's overextended, it comes into the above the 50 moving average, and you're just not comfortable taking a trade because man, it's been going up for let's say 2 weeks, and you're very uncertain if it's gonna continue to go up. There is nothing wrong with buying cycle lows, right? So you wait for the cycle low. We're above the 50 early uptrend, right? Because now our 50 SMA is below price action, angling up. Here's a cycle low, right? So it's a good entry for buying equity, buying calls, whatever it is your strategy is, and then you swing trade. You hold here uh, until you have a signal to sell, right? Or until you make a certain whatever your profit target, price target, whatever it is, right? You can sell, and I can cover exit strategies a little later, but right now we're just discussing the rules. Same thing here, this line right here. Sure, price is below the 50 SMA, and it kind of flattens out. But if you can see here, it starts angling up even though price is below. So it creates this rubber band effect, right? And then there's several videos I'm sure on YouTube about the rubber band effect, and that's exactly what it did, right? It performed exactly how it's supposed to. We have a cycle low, right? There's weakness on an early uptrend, and it came right back up. Here, uh, another example of why I like using 40. It was a very, very weak pullback right here, even though it was, I think this week was all red. It was, nonetheless, it was still a weak pullback. Why? Because the RSI told us that, this sell off all week was not that strong. So then we go and make a new high, the week after. And like I said, y'all can ask me questions about this later on. We can go more in depth, but like in a nutshell, this is how you would apply the market cycles, right? Um, when there's a strong up move or a strong down move, just be aware. The RSI indicator can stay up in the oversold. I mean, in the over bought condition. So just because it's overbought does not mean it has to come down. Just keep that in mind. And same thing when it's oversold, right? It just means that there's momentum to the downside. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that price must come out because it's oversold. If this was a downtrend continuation, the RSI indicator, may be able to just stay down here, hang out down here until it places the high, right? So momentum, it's gonna be your MACD. Um, I see a lot of people use the MACD, so I don't know if I need to get into too much in depth about the MACD, but pretty much the crossovers. There's bullish crossovers, bearish crossovers, um, and that's about it. And I'll cover it a little bit in the chart also. Volume. Uh, Volume is not an indicator. It's like price action. It's real time. It's there. Um, not necessarily needed for the rules, but you can see sometimes you're able to tell, is this a pullback or is this a reversal, right? And volume tells you that, and I'll show you in the chart. So it's in conjunction with price action, right? If you're having uh, if you're having like, oh, you hear people, hey, the market's tanking today, and you look at the volume and it's not that great, right? Like the volume's not really there, then it's more than likely a pullback. um, Now if you had heavy volume at resistance, and then it starts pulling back on volume, it could be a reversal. So it just it offers clues as to what price may do. Volatility, and this is what I added to my trading that really stood out. Momentum bands. Um, they, for those that use Think or Swim, It's the momentum basic indicator, and just add Bollinger Bands to on top of it. So Bollinger Bands and momentum bands, right? So it is very, very, very simple. Um, Green to red, you go long. So you look into buying whatever, right? Calls, whatever it is that you're gonna get. Green to red, you short, and same thing, right? Of course, the rules have to meet, but in a nutshell, that's what it is. Um, so what happens if there's chop? Well, it'll turn green, red, whatever. But like I said, momentum often leads price. So you'll see like a flat MACD, let's say on the weekly, right? If you're trading, you'll see a flat MACD or something. It's just chopping around like right here. There's not much going on, but we're at resistance. So, you know, uh, rather than go, long here, you look for a short, right? There's nothing wrong. It might take days to for this to develop, but it's absolutely fine. So um, how do you know if there's going to be continuation with volatility? Um, it's very, very simple. Here, for example, right, we have a momentum breakdown, and look at your Bollinger Bands. They're expanding, right? They expand, expand, expand. They start expanding until about this day right here. We had two days that bounced, and you can see the upper band curling down. So, that's just telling me, giving me a clue that volatility is slowing down, right? So obviously this came down. It didn't hit uh, that Bollinger Band at the bottom after a big move like this. So that's another indicator that, hey, you know what? This might not be continuing down any further. So you look to reverse, right? And in this case, it worked great. UAL is actually a good chart that goes up and down, up and down. So you can do channel trading here pretty well with this one. Um, so then again here it gaps up, well, and it starts trading sideways. Well, how do you know if it's gonna continue? What are the clues? And it's just your Bollinger Bands, right? Your Bollinger Bands are expanding, and you'll see it at the close. So I didn't take this trade. I did post it. I want to say it was UAO. I did post this because it has the alert here on why I thought it would break out, and it's the same thing, right? The Bollinger Bands are starting to expand, and we're at resistance. So I would not actually at all be surprised if Monday this starts trading into the mid to upper 90s, and that's volatility. That's it. Mobile bands here. Whenever there's a breakout breakdown, that means that rule for volatility. Pullbacks with mobile, when it's between uh, when it's between the bands here, and you have no idea whether it's coming down or going up, your best bet is to, as long as it's green, look for long trades. As long as it's red, look for short trades, right? Um, you'll see it on the lower time frame. You'll have an exit. It's very simple. I'll show it on some charts. So here's just the explanation of the mobile bands, right? Red to green, go long, green to red, short. Uh, so fractal confirmation, right? Fractal energy. All that means is you look at, if you're swing trading. I personally use the weekly chart to confirm. So for me, momentum, the MACD line has to be angling in the direction of my trade, right? So if I open puts, and this specific one is United Airlines. If I open puts here, look. I mean, just look at your MACD, right? It's been coming up. It's been moving up from last week to this week. It's still angling up. Your RSI is still angling up, coming into this uh, overbought condition. So you wouldn't look for shorts, right? You need to let the chart uh, prove to you that it's going down, right? Don't assume You know, if the setup is there, don't assume it has to come down because it's at resistance. You know, let the chart, you know, print, right? Let the market work. Um, you know, and like I said, momentum often leads price. So you may get a signal here, right? You may get a signal here, and price is still consolidating, and we have a bearish crossover on the daily, and you know the weekly confirms, hey, you know, open a short position. That's perfectly fine, but if it goes down all of a sudden based on news or whatever it is, right? An overreaction of the market to whatever, just let that trade go. You know, let the chart show you. And it will, like, once you start paying attention, it will show you, you know, the setup. Yeah, again, here it is. What confirms the MACD line must point in the direction of your trade. If it's above, you know, if there's a bullish crossover on the weekly, you know, do not go short. You're gonna get burned. Um, so just, you know, uh, when the MACD trades flat on your confirmation chart, for me, it's the weekly, right? Because in swing trade, if it's flat, that's when that's when you'll have like whipsaw, things like that. You know, bull traps, bear traps. If you start going back at trades you took, and that you have no idea why they went against you, I can almost guarantee that that MACD was flat. You know, it was not doing much. So it went up and down before it picked a direction. So now that we're done with that, let's look at some charts. And something I trade a lot is the SPY. It's you know it's the most the S&P, the SPX, whichever one, right? They're very liquid. They're very liquid for options, and you don't necessarily have to use the daily. I actually sometimes use the 4 hour, and regardless of the news, right? Regardless of the news, I if I can find where I took the screenshots, I'll post it up. But I was able to take this trade right here. I took calls. I took calls right there, and I took calls right here, and I have calls right there. So it's been a great, you know, it's been a great rally. It's been a great rally. Um, and it was all based on momentum bands. You know, there was people that were shorting here. Sure, we have, you know, we have a breakdown right here of momentum, but if we apply the rules, um, we start looking here, right? We have a momentum breakout. Your MACD, right? Your MACD is above the signal line. We have a bullish crossover. RSI was oversold, coming into overbought. You know, it came above the 50, which is showing, you know, intraday. It's very strong, right? Above 50. Uh, that's pretty strong. And if you look on the right chart, on the weekly chart, you know, what do we have? Well, it's at support, right? It's at the 50 SMA on the weekly. So that's strong support right there. And what's the MACD and the RSI doing? They're pointing up. So that was a good trade. So you come, and then boom, you sell right here this day, whatever this day was, right? I think no, this was not 4th of July weekend. It was right here. So this one right here, uh, it was very flat, but still a very very valid trade, because now not only are we on a, you know, early uptrend, we're also above the 200 moving average on the 4 hour, and we still have confirmation, right? RSI climbed up from last week, right? We were under 30. Now it looked like it was about 55, 60. So that's a lot of momentum, right? And you can see that, like, MACD here flattening out. So something I'm gonna tell you about MACD on like the 4 hour chart. You know, yes, it's gonna, you know, do this right here, come over. You know, don't pay too much attention to this, especially on the shorter time frames. If you if you think like the MACD as a vehicle, right? You know, you give it gas, and there's nothing wrong with that vehicle slowing down, right? You know, think of it. Think, I guess, I mean, it's a horrible example, but you know, speed limits, right? You're going on the highway, you get off, you know, you're on frontage, you know, now, you know, you coming up to a large street, whatever it is, right? So there's nothing wrong with momentum slowing down. Um, uh, So you stay right. You stay in trades until you're proving otherwise. Which right here was a good one, right? We have a breakdown. Momentum slowing down, but if you look at the the right side over there, RSI is starting to curl down, but the MACD is pretty flat. So that's not very, that's not a very strong indication there that momentum is to the south like it was right here. This breakdown right here, that's a very, very clear signal on the weekly, right? You can clearly see it angling down. The RSI is, went from 80 plus to about maybe 60 right there. From one week to the next, we have a mobile breakdown. This is a good spot right here. This day right here, um, to open short positions. And yes, it did bounce, right? It did bounce, and it looked like it was gonna recover, but no big deal. I mean, it'll do that, right? Your rules still apply. So um, it will still apply, so no big deal. Sometimes it's better to just not look at the chart. Wait a day or two before you panic sell when the rules meet, right? Um, so here's another this other one, right? Continue here. You can still see now we're kind of um, on overbought territory on the SPY. MACD is still up on the weekly, so that was this was a good entry right here. You can do call options, you can do whatever it is, debit spreads. I prefer debit spreads. I'm starting to really like it just because of the risk reward. So I'm gonna show you the um, this here that I did for a buddy of mine. He kept saying, hey, that BA has bad news, BA has bad news. Uh, so I challenged them. I'm like, okay, like let's give it a shot, right? Let's put my system to the test. And this was Tuesday, July 9th, right? Um, it's oversold, right? We're at a cycle low, MACD. Check out the MACD. We made a uh, looks almost like a higher high. I wouldn't know, but definitely a lower high, right? So we made a lower high, and price kind of came down. So that's a very, very obvious divergence right there, right? Very, very obvious to me, at least right now that I've been using this. Very obvious. So uh, if you can see right here, look at the MACD. Yes, it's weak, but it's still above the signal line on the weekly, right? We had a crossover right here the week of 617, and it just tried to go up, and it retraced, right? And look at the volume. Look at the volume. Very, very small volume, below uh, below its 20 days. Very, very small volume. So that tells me that it's more than likely a pullback. So what I did, it was very simple. I came to the 2 hour chart, or 1 hour chart, excuse me, and I just took that mobile. I was like, you know what, that's gonna be your entry, and so then it worked out. And then today, I I came to analyze, right. So I told them, look, like this is the you know if you would have taken this straight right here, it met all the rules. Um, and just to kind of show you, right, like what happens. Let's say seven. What day was this? This was 7/9. So we go to 7/9 here, and it's entirely up to you. Like what you want to do personally, and I'll show you both, right? I'll show you just to give you. We're about I'm about ready to wrap it up. I think should be fine. Any more questions, right? We can discuss later. But let's say you took 3 weeks out, right? You're gonna swing trade this 3 weeks, um, or shorter. It's fine. Uh, and just to show, right? So you can get a call option, which I wouldn't risk. $8.15 on a call option. That's just way too much risk for me to even worry about. But you can do the a debit spread, right? So you buy an in the money debit spread and then call, and then you sell an in the money call, right? So that that's your risk right there. I don't know. It's not a lot. It's significantly less, right? So even if we do like a single contract, just to show you real quick. Excuse me. Just to show you real quick, right? Uh, so 12 as of today, uh, it would have been up at, let's see, 702. You would have been up $47 on just a single contract. And how much are you risking? Um, you're only risking a buck 30 compared to $8 and 25 cents, right? So um, it's all about minimizing losses, right? If you buy multiple contracts, and this is what's great about this system. Um, let's say today, right, it rallies, well, you can sell half, right? So sell a contract, and let the let the rest ride. See what it's gonna do. See if you hit you know your target. Another thing you can do, because we are trading volatility, and I mean, you can see, right? You can see volatility is there, everything's there. If you want to buy a call option, that that's fine too. For example, another one, I didn't take this trade. I completely missed it, but um, I was looking at it today, and it did very well from Tuesday when I picked it up on a scan, 7.9. So you trade it, you do a weekly trade, whatever it is, right? Um, so you buy at 79 cents, and this was Tuesday, 79 cents. So that's not bad, even just for a call option. 73 cents is not bad at all. That's even for people with small accounts, that's not very bad. So as of today, you made over 100%. And everything was there in the chart, right? We had um, just to show you, we had the momentum breakout here, and then it continues. Oh, actually, no, Tuesday. This was Thursday, Tuesday. This would have been a continuation. So you actually would have picked this up way before. You would have picked this up right here, Visa, and you would have still been in the trade, because your your exit is when it turns red again, right? Unless you're satisfied, it's here at resistance. You can definitely do that. But this is where it picked up this trade right there. And look at the weekly chart. Definitely bullish. Uh, do not try to short something that's bullish, right? You're gonna get burned. Just wait for the up signal. The trend is your friend until the end. Like, remember that. Um, earnings is coming up, so I don't know if it's a good trade, but in a nutshell, that's the system, right? Follow the 7 rules, and I can almost guarantee you will make money. Don't add personal opinions. If you're trading on hope, don't enter that trade. Um, so anything else, any other questions, feel free and ask me. If I need to, do something, cover something more in depth, also let me know. So I'm gonna cut it already there, because I think it's been going on a while now. But I'll be available. So thank you.